Welcome to the Mindset RX podcast, a show for functional athletes who want to gain a champ's mindset. My name is Tom Foxley and I'm the founder and the head coach of Mindset RX. And before we get into today's show, it's probably a good opportunity to say, if you are an athlete, which I'm guessing you are, or if you're, by athlete I mean anyone who's trying to improve their physical health and taking consistent steps towards it, or would like to take consistent steps towards it, from that kind of level all the way up to CrossFit Games athletes and the elite end of the spectrum there. We have this group of athletes who are fascinated in exploring their mindset, or just are interested even in exploring their mindset and reaping the rewards that process gives you. And to kind of join that group, to join that community of like-minded athletes, what you need to do is jump on Facebook and search for these words: Mindset for Functional Athletes. And it's a free Facebook group. We require you to have a small application. It's like a couple of questions just to find out a bit more about you guys, so that you're not just like some random people in there with a bunch of people trying to sell fake Rolexes and stuff like that. So you can join Mindset for Functional Athletes completely free. Have a look around there. And it's what's really nice as well is it's a community, and we're starting to really interact well with each other now. There's a lot of people kind of opening up, talking about what they've done to help their mindsets, and you'll learn a lot. And not only that, you've got myself and a horde of Mindset RX qualified coaches in there as well. So you're in good hands if you join there. You can get your questions answered, you can get a bit of personal help, and get a bit of support from the rest of the community as well. Anyway, today's show is about the main mistake athletes make when changing their behaviors. And in short, it's this: they try and change their behavior from the word go. Okay, so what they do is they look at training and they think, okay, this is like the end result I want to get, and they want to make their change there. They want to actually change their mindset. They want to change that mindset when they haven't done the work before. So what I mean by that is they're often looking at the end result, and the end result is that chatter that comes up in the mind. It's the self-talk that we hear, and we think, that's the thing that I need to change. That's the babbling bit of self-talk that I need to correct. And we think also that, okay, so I've got the self-talk in the WOD, but I've also got my pre-lift routine. That's where I should start. But the truth is, with athletes, we cannot start in this very specific way because it's too intense when we're in a WOD. There's too much mental stress going on, and there's another 23 hours of the day or whatever that we need to master before we get there. The training is actually the last thing that we should touch on for so many reasons, but mainly that there's a system to actually progress people through mindset. There's a system to get athletes from wherever they are to wherever they want to be in terms of mindset, and also performance too. And this starts off with a testing phase. You can imagine, just like you've got a kind of a physical training program, you have to test where you are first before you set the direction to go to where you want to get to. So the first thing you have to do is test your mindset. And this is the process, like funnily enough, this is the exact process that I take athletes through in the Inner Athlete Performance Camp, the 10-week process now, where we go, okay, we're going to spend two weeks in each of these phases and build out your mindset. But the first one is testing their mindset, testing to see where the faults are, where the opportunity for growth is, and where your strengths are too. We test the mindset first. The next step is to go on to orientation, what I call the orientation phase, what the coaches in Mindset RX, we all call orientation, because it's orientating yourself towards where success lies for you, like what is really success for you, and getting you to dream on that bigger level. Because when you do that, you've got a sight to aim for, you've got a filter to kind of put your actions through, and you've got a roadmap towards success, but only if you know your testing phase first. If only you know the details from the testing phase, you can set your sights on success. So testing, orientation. And then we've got observation and elevation, and that's got two parts, part 1 and part 2. The first phase in observation and elevation is to give you perspective, to give you that 30,000 foot view of what's happening. So quite often, like the metaphor is literally beneath my nose right now. I'm stood here looking out over what is a very grey London, and I'm on the 10th floor in our flat. And what I can see is this path that I use to walk to the tube station to go to the gym. And I can see people walking that very same path, and they seem completely wrapped up in their own world. They're seeing the bit in front of them, and that's all they're seeing. And this is how we spend most of our training world. We start we see what's directly in front of us in our immediate scenario. And therefore, our actions are so kind of predictable, because in your world, you're just going to walk along that path because that's the only thing to do. But when we give ourselves a true perspective through the observation and elevation phase, what we do is we learn to see things from the perspective I have now, from this literal looking down on the world that I can do now. So I can see those people, I can see where they're going, I can see where they've been, I can see further in front of where they should go, and I can see their small actions and how to guide them more effectively towards where we want to go in the end. So that's the observation and elevation phase. Like, the first part of that is learning to see your behavior with more clarity, learning to kind of to adjust it eventually. And then the second phase there, it's like, okay, we've identified these behaviors. Now we need to start to changing them, to get control over our thoughts and our emotions. This is like where kind of more people start here. And then finally, the last thing we do is get to this very sport-specific phase. And this is the last thing that we do. Whereas most athletes start in the sport-specific phase, like changing your behavior explicitly there. But we've got those 5 stages. We've got testing. We've got orientation. Then observation and elevation part 1, and observation and elevation part 2, and then finally we go to that sport-specific world. And that is how you change behavior. That is how you master your mindset as an athlete, not through starting with the end goal, but for starting in point 1, then point 2, then 3, 4, and 5, and progressing that way. So if you are an athlete who is trying to change that behavior, you need to start with that testing phase. You need to begin testing your mindset and really learning to observe it with much more clarity on a day-to-day basis. And that's what gives you growth. Okay. So if you enjoyed the show, please leave a 5-star review on iTunes or whatever. Or if you enjoyed it and you can't be bothered to head to iTunes, because I completely get that, I just hope you enjoyed the show. I'll be back soon with another episode of the Mindset RX podcast. And until then, keep on crushing training.